What did we just see? Bombers pulling out the victory. And you know what? I was gonna make this video right after the game was over because I was so excited. I thought we had won this game like 5 times already, and it's the CFL, man. You never know when it's just never over. It is never over. So incredible game. If you guys didn't know, I actually streamed this game live on YouTube on this same channel. So if you guys are watching, if I can get some people to come and watch the games with me, it just makes it so much more entertaining. I had a few buddies in there, a couple people who are on the channel all the time, joining me. We had a ton of fun. So hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'm gonna try and stream all the away games that I possibly can, because I'm gonna be at the home game, so I can't stream there. But yeah, enjoy the video. What did we all witness there, guys? I don't even know where to begin with this game. Like, I'm looking at the stats right now, and I can't even believe it. Like, first off, I'm not a huge bettor on the CFL. I really don't bet on CFL games. But I'm looking at the betting lines here from FanDuel. Bombers were favored by 5.5 points going into this game. I did not think that. Like, playing in Regina, the Bombers always have a tough time playing there, no matter when, especially on Labor Day with a sold out crowd. And we were favored by 5.5. I really didn't anticipate that. And but in the first half, I think the Bombers did show why they are favored against the Riders. You know, with Zach, I really do think the Bombers have the best defense in the league. Right now, I think they have the best defense in the league. But with Zach, I think the offense works really well. The only question mark that I have on the offensive side of the ball is the offensive line. And I'm going to get into that because I have quite a few concerns with that. I have some concerns on the defensive side of the ball, but I really wanted to just go over those. You guys all saw the game. Insane. I'm going to talk a little bit about the game as well, but I want to talk first about my concerns with it. So first off, especially even when Zach's in the game, I didn't feel like we gave him very much time at all to throw the football. And this has been a constant concern for all season, let's say. They've given him absolutely minimal time to throw the football. And, we just don't have, even when there's a 3, 4, 5 man, any type of blitz, they're in his face immediately. They're in his face within 2 seconds, and we're unable to protect. You go to the other flip side of the ball, and you look at what Saskatchewan can do. They lost their 2 centers. They lost both centers, and then they had Micah Johnson playing offensive line, and they were able to protect way better than our offensive line. So, riddle me that, first of all. Riddle me that. How, and you can't tell me just because the Bombers only, why? Okay, so, I'm trying to get this off my chest. The Bombers, every single down except the final play, when they're on, the 20-yard line, that one that was, a 20-yard pass onto the 1-yard line. Every single play, we only rushed three rushers. We rushed 3 rushers against an O-line that's missing 3 players, 2 centers, and another offensive lineman. And you don't send a single blitz until the final play of the game, and then obviously they're gonna have somebody open. I just don't understand the philosophy behind this stuff. I just think that there's something between the ears that's missing here, because I love the way the Bombers defense played. I think that they minimized the amount of points that the Riders scored this game, but I think it's playing to limit to field goals and not to create turnovers, to stop them, and I've had that like 3 and outs. I've had that concern since the beginning of the year. It's starting to become a little bit more of a concern. So yes, my number one concern with the Bombers is the offensive line, and I'm okay with rushing 3 players. I'm okay with rushing 3 guys, and if as long as our DBs at the back end can play good coverage, aren't allowing free runners, and then are still watching for the QB sneak. So I'm okay with that, because it seems to have been working. But that being said, you've got to see what the situation is. They've got a guy who's like never played in the CFL on the offensive line, and you're giving him a 3-man rush. You're making his job so easy. I don't get it, man. It just doesn't make sense. It just does not compute in my head, because you'd think you'd want to make it more confusing. Confuse the guy who's never played before. It's like the same way you do it when there's a rookie coming in. You want to confuse the guy. Send a stunt. Like, do something different. I cannot understand it. I just cannot wrap my head around that. On the other flip side, the Bombers' offensive line. I was watching the Bombers' offensive line all game. And guess what? They had 6 guys. 6 guys blocking, plus Brady. And sometimes a tight end. And they still couldn't stop the Riders. Why can't we dial up something like that? And then in the whole second half, like every single play, we knew there was a blitz coming. You knew it was an all-out blitz. They were playing man on the outside, and it was a heavy blitz, and we had no answers. It was screen pass. Like they didn't throw a pass 5 yards like more than one time. I think there was a one pass to Wolodarski. It's not acceptable, man. And if Streveler and the offensive line cannot. The offensive line can't hold up for more than 2 seconds to get and have Streveler make a 5-yard in slant pass. He needs to be gone. I think they need to bring in some more offensive linemen. They need to blow up the salary cap. I don't give 2 single shits. The NFL cuts just came in. They need to be finding every single guy who just got cut off of an NFL roster that has been picked up. Obviously not Canadians, but American guys, and really push these guys. Randolph, Lofton. Lofton's fucking horrible, man. The guy's fucking shit. He's garbage. Get him off the field. They need to get some better tackles in there. Absolutely, this is unacceptable. They need to give the quarterbacks more time. It's the reason why Zach's injured. Offensive line's bad. Defensive line, no pressure. Three-man rush. I'm not going to get too much on the defense because we won. It was all because of them. But that's that part. Let me know if you agree in the comments. Because you know what, we can't win the Grey Cup. We cannot win the Grey Cup with our offensive line playing this way, and I don't think we can win with 3-man pressure either. 3-man pressure never gets to the quarterback. I don't think that's good enough. Let me know what you think. Also wanted to talk about the quarterback play today. I think Zach was much better today. He actually looked really poised, made some good throws. He threw that one pick, which I actually missed. I don't even know. I was streaming here. My cat was on my monitor, or not on my monitor, on my tower, and he likes to pull the plugs of my USBs out. So I was plugging some stuff back in. He threw the pick. I didn't want to rewind because I didn't want to see it, but he threw the one pick. Other than that, I thought he was really good. I thought he was much more poised and much more made much more sound decisions, made much better passes as well. Like calculated risks with the deep shots to Lawler. That's something the Bombers need to do way more, because you can't, like, Lawler is going to put himself into a situation, and you watched him when he played for Edmonton a couple of years ago. When he left the Bombers, he went and played at Edmonton. I thought they used him amazingly because he was unguardable. They had him going into the end zone on these deep passes. If it's single coverage, you just throw it up. You're going to get either a catch, it's going to be an incomplete pass, maybe, or they're usually going to take a penalty. So, I mean, weigh your options. It's like we either get a 30-yard penalty, a ball on the 1-yard line, touchdown, or maybe it's incomplete, because that guy is not going to, like, I have the utmost confidence that Lawler is going to do something to, he is not picking that ball off. It's Kenny Lawler. I think he's got that. If you put it in at least in a decent spot, I think he's got it. So I think that we need to start using Kenny Lawler much more like that as just a deep threat. I mean, all over the field. I think they need to throw the ball to him at least 10 times a game minimum. And even, if it's second and long, just throw it deep to Kenny Lawler and let him make some magic. Another concern, and my other concern is very, very obvious. And everyone's thinking it. And I think you guys have all been waiting for this. Why is Chris Streveler on this team? If you're a Bomber fan like I am and you follow all these news and notes and you listen to all the media clippings and I've been in this game for a long time. I'm only 30 right now, but I've been going to the Bombers. I've had season tickets for over 20 years now. And I grew up in a time, I know I'm not that old, there's probably people older than me, where there was no social media, especially following the Bombers. It makes it a lot harder because it's not the Jets. You can't just turn on TSN or CTV or whatever and they're going to follow and give you all the information. No, we had to listen. We had to read the newspaper. We had to listen to Bob Irving, all that, right? And I've been listening to what, Buck Pierce has been saying all year. And O'Shea and all those guys. They talk about how Streveler's in here to play a package and he's gonna, they ask, oh, they're allowed to have 2 quarterbacks out there this year. Well, how are you gonna utilize? Well, we have some plans for him, this and that. There's no fucking plan for Chris Streveler. The only plan is like the plan C, plan D. When everything else has failed, we might in some scenario that's never going to happen in a real game unless Zach gets injured, we're going to let him run an RPO. And it's not going to be successful because the guy cannot run an RPO. He doesn't understand. He doesn't have the awareness to be able to run the RPO. And our offensive line is not good enough to block an RPO. Doesn't matter on those RPOs whether he runs it or if he hands it off. And there's sure as hell not enough time to fucking throw the ball on the RPO. I will tell you that right now. And excuse my French. Actually, fuck it. I don't give a shit. It's my channel. I can swear if I want to. I know we won, and I'm ranting because I don't think the Riders are a very good football team. And I think the Bombers, even playing the way they did today, which I thought the defense played great for the most part. I'm not going to be too critical. I think there was some plays that were no good, like on the touchdown, that was the crossing pattern. Nick Hallett was standing there and he got absolutely lost in coverage. He was like, didn't know where he was supposed to be. There was some bad coverage in some of them. Didn't get to the quarterback, but I'm not going to even complain because I thought they limited Trevor Harris fairly well. I mean, you look at some of the box scores here. They had 31 first downs to our 20. You think if Zach finished the game, I think it would have been. I think they would have blown them out. Total yards 332 to 432. Like 432 is not that impressive compared to the Bombers 332 when we went the whole second half without a quarterback basically. Like we. So ultimately, like I think that the team's in a decent place right now. I just think they need to figure something out with that offensive line. I think fixing the offensive line, I get it. Stanley Bryant's injured. I understand, but that doesn't matter. It was the same problem before Stan was out. So it's twice as bad now, but there's no excuse. Every team has got injuries. And it goes back to my first point. With the Riders having half their offensive line, their third string center, and Micah Johnson, and they had no problem blocking. It comes down to offensive line. It comes down to scheme. There's just huge issues there that need to be fixed. I think they can be fixed. I think there has to be new players coming in. You know, you look at what BC did last week and the week before that. They brought in two guys that are absolutely going to blow their salary cap up. Why can't the Bombers do that? The Bombers make the most amount of money in the league. I'll take the PP slap if that means that we win the Grey Cup. There's got to be a NFL veteran that got cut that can slot in and play tackle. There has to be. Give him a marketing contract. 200K marketing contract. If that means it's going to save Zach Collaros another injury, do it. Do it. And I won't accept anything less. Because if Stan is out for another game, and then we've got to rely on, actually, even if he isn't, I don't think Lofton is good enough. And I'm not an expert on the offensive line. I didn't watch them exclusively, but I did see Lofton getting beaten a bunch of times, and I did see Randolph getting beaten a bunch of times. I also saw the Canadians in the middle getting beaten a bunch of times. It was just bad all around. But we can't go and fix the offensive line from the Canadian perspective in, whatever week we're in now, and you just can't do it. There's only so many Canadian talent available. So I think they need to go and absolutely break the salary cap if they need to, get the best American offensive lineman you can get, and who cares if we lose a pick next year? So be it. Just wanted to make one more point about that. I just want to put into some context. Okay, so I follow all these sports, like all sports. I'm just a crazy sports fan, okay? And I follow the English Premier League. And, I'm a fan of Liverpool football. And there's something there's a big difference between when you follow American and Canadian sports versus when you follow, European sports. I get there's no salary cap, there's none of this, but there is fair play rules, things like that. And guess what? The big clubs disregard that shit. They don't give a fuck. They're going to pay whatever, damages they need to pay and ask for forgiveness after, because the money isn't this here or there. I want to let you know, and guess what? The fans in Europe are way harder on their clubs than we are here. The Bombers are a big club. They're the biggest club in the CFL. I don't care. You look at this stadium back here, it's usually empty. It's usually half empty. The Bombers are the biggest club in the CFL. Come at me if you disagree. They should not have to give a shit about the salary cap. We put in more money into the CFL than anybody else. In Winnipeg. So if we need to get a few extra players, I think that we should just say fuck it and bring them in and slot them in on the offensive line, find a quarterback who just got cut from the NFL, and roll with it. And if they have a problem with it, we'll show them our ring, That's all I got to say about that. Want to talk about the Banjo Bowl preview a little bit, just because obviously it's the better game of the two. Winnipeg, we know how to have fun here. The tailgating is not even a question. It's way better. I don't even think you even tailgate in Regina. The fun, Rum Hut, and it's just a better atmosphere anyways. But yeah, I think that if we have to go in and play with Strevler, I don't even know. I think we might get blown out. Honestly, I know the Riders, they have all this. Oh, the Bombers are bad playing in Labor Day in Regina. The Riders are even worse coming to Winnipeg playing the Banjo Bowl. I'm sorry to say it. When's the last time they didn't get blown out here on the Banjo Bowl? I don't know. Somebody tell me, because I don't remember. But I think that, as much as I don't know anything about him, I'd rather see Terry Wilson starting the game on, next weekend on Sunday, than Strevler, because we know what we're getting with Strevler, and it's not anything good. It's going to be more of this failed RPO because he can't read the defense, and it's going to be dink and dunk. It's going to be a lot of screens. It's going to be a lot of two and outs, and it's going to be a lot of frustration from my end. I'd rather honestly go and pick up anybody. Like, is there any like free agents available? Like, a quarterback that can pick up the game. Like, is Michael Bishop available? I'll take Michael Bishop at this point. At least he can throw the ball really far. He's like 50 years old at this point, I'm sure. But like, I'm pretty sure he can still sling it over them hills. Rick, maybe we can get Uncle Rico in here. Uncle Rico, he could be really good. But as much as I absolutely love Strevler, I had his jersey. I lost it in a cab when I was really drunk one time. But he's not the quarterback. He's not the solution. He is strictly a short yardage guy, and that's all he'll ever be in the CFL, unless he decides to go and play like tight end or something like that. He just is not a quarterback, and you know what? Even if he could throw the football, for some reason, even the Bombers know he isn't, because they're not opening up the playbook. They won't even let him throw the ball. They had a good point actually on the panel. They said that they only let him throw the ball more than 5 yards once. Like, that just tells you exactly what they think of him. Like, it's not a mystery. That's exactly what they think of him. They see him as a short yardage quarterback, and that's all. So I think you have to start Terry Wilson if Collaros is not good to go next week. I'm going to come back next week, and I'm going to do it or later on this week, and I think I'm going to do like a little bit more of a comprehensive video, just once we have a little bit more info on the injuries and all that. Hopefully we get Zach back. I just think that I think the Riders I think they go into the games. You had last year, same thing happened to Zach. Forget the guy's name. He's not really important. And it just happens again this year. I'm pretty sure it happened the year before. So I really hope the Bombers, I never really cheer for injuries or people to get hurt or anything like that. But, I wouldn't say it's not karma if, Trevor Harris came to Winnipeg and, had to leave with some ice bags on his, knees and everything. I think that would be fitting retribution. But, yeah, anyways, great game, Bomber fans. It took me about half an hour to just really get my brain back because, like I say, I was streaming. I had thought the game was over about 5 different times, and I was already talking about how we're about top of the West. They got the onside kick. They take it. It was just an absolute roller coaster of emotions. And you know what? That's why we watch the league. That's why we love the CFL. That's why we're Bomber fans. And I think that we have the absolute best fans in the league. I think it's not even close. It's just amazing to see how many, how well this team's just continued to grow. I'm just so proud of the team that I grew up supporting. When there was no Jets, all there was the Bombers and the Moose, and I grew up idolizing these guys, and it's just continued to grow, and I'm just so happy that everybody. It seems like everybody's coming onto this bandwagon. I mean, it's not like coming onto the bandwagon, but realizing how great the CFL is. It's just the greatest league in the world. It doesn't have necessarily the best talent, but it just really, there's nothing that's as exciting as the CFL. And All I have to say is I'd rather be a bomber than a fucking rough rider. A fucking rough rider. A fucking rough rider. I'd rather be a bomber than a fucking rough rider. Cause rough riders suck shit. Suck shit. Go blue.